Never mind SOS, it's SIS. Send in Stevie. What would Stevie do if he was brought in to manage the different clubs that I'm going to put to him now? What would be the first order of business? And I will start, Stevie, with Arsenal.
Oh, how much money have they got? You know, that is about as difficult a one to sort out. You know, Arteta is struggling right now to sort it out. You know, when he went in there, he got them in a good defensive shape, and they broke. That only lasted for 6 months. Since this season started, they kind of look as though they've had enough of that, but they don't have the players to change it. So Arsenal is probably the hardest one of all, other than a huge overhaul of the playing staff. Right now, there are so many things wrong. It's difficult to where you start. I guess where you start is getting them back to the attitude they had when Arteta went through the door.
Would you bring Mesut Özil back into the lineup?
Not if I'm going to play a defensive game and hit on the break, no.
All right, next club, still in the Premier League, Manchester United. You've been called in. What's your first order of business?
I get rid of Fred and I get rid of Matic. You know, Bruno Fernandes, fantastic. The other front three, you know, the front four is good. They're exciting. They can be exciting. They can score goals. But, you know, the two guys who are supposed to hold things together, in my opinion, and I'm not including Pogba in this because I think you get rid of Pogba, you get the money and a new upgrade in the middle of the park because the defence, I think, is okay. It's not fantastic, but it's not too bad. As I said, they're good going forward. They need to sort out what's going on in the middle of the park behind Bruno Fernandes. You know, Arsenal went out and got Partey. Why can Manchester United not have done that? Partey walks into that side. So I don't think Matic and Fred or even McTominay are good enough to take United back to the top. So that's where I would start.
Would you drop De Gea?
You know, I think I would give Henderson 2 or 3 games and then decide. I think right now that Henderson hasn't made a mistake because he's hardly played, so it's easy to say, well, get De Gea out, get Henderson in. I think the only way you find out is you give him 2 or 3 games and you tell De Gea that. You say, look, you've made some mistakes. I'm going to give this guy a chance, and then after 3 or 4 games, I'll decide who's number one.
All right, let's stay in Manchester. You've been sent into Man City. What are you going to do?
I'm going to work all day with the 2 centre backs, whoever's there. The 2 centre backs and the defensive midfielder, whether it's Rodri, whether it's Fernandinho, because the only trouble they have is defending behind the ball when they're attacking. And that really, more than anything, is not down to the fact that they're slow or they can't get about. The positional sense is awful. They don't pick up good starting positions, which then means you're in a position to stop people breaking on you. So I would be working with the centre backs all day long, along with the central midfielder.
We're going to hop across to Spain now in La Liga, and you've been sent in at Barcelona. They've got their problems this season. They are still in the Champions League, though, maybe lacking some drive and determination.
You know, when I think of Barcelona right now, I don't see, and I'm going to include Messi in this. I don't see anybody in that team who's in charge. You know, and when I say that, you don't have to have a world superstar, fancy Dan football playing guy in the middle of the park. It could be just a big, rough, tough, solid, hard guy who will get around everybody and make sure that at all times they're either given 100% or that they're at their best. I look at this side and I don't see anybody at all in charge of this team on the field, and that includes Messi. You know, he clearly wants to go, so he's given his best. But when your heart's not in it, that's a different ballgame, especially for a player like him. So they need to bring somebody in who's going to pull them all together, either by patting some on the back that need it, or getting a size 12 or whatever size shoe they have and kicking a few up the backside.
What about their rivals in Spain, Real Madrid? Where do you even start?
Oh my goodness. Again, I was thinking about them the other day, and the side that played against Atletico Madrid in the Champions League final, 4 years ago, was it? If everybody's fit, there's not a lot of change. I think that's the biggest problem they've had. They haven't been able to make enough changes gradually. They've gone out and signed the likes of Hazard and then expected just to carry on being dominant. It doesn't work that way. You need to quietly and efficiently keep the squad turning over and strengthening. And I don't think they've done that. And consequently, they've got too many players right now coming to, well, should I say past their best? It's probably the best way to put it. And so when you've got so many players past their best and you're still expected to win every single time you go on the field, that's very difficult to happen. So we shouldn't be surprised that that's not happening. And again, the easiest thing to do is overhaul the team. But at the same time, I think Zidane needs to show us that he can actually galvanise a side, because right now they don't look like a team. They look like a bunch of guys with good names on the back of the jersey, Cruz and Modric and Casemiro and all these guys. You look at the name and you think, wow, but past the best. So we'll see whether Zidane can coach now.
We couldn't finish without asking if you were sent in to manage your old team, Liverpool. Maybe wrap them all in cotton wool right now?
Well, that's the ones that are left, yeah. Listen, when everybody's fit, if I had a wish list, I would have somebody, probably a Upamecano, standing next to Virgil van Dijk. And then that's aside. Certainly you could say in the middle of the park there may be better players, certainly technically around the world. But as a unit, is there any better? You could maybe argue right now that Bayern as a unit are maybe better, but that's about it. So Upamecano, I think, would just top Liverpool up nicely.
And I'd look forward to the post-match interviews with coach Stevie Nicol.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.